LC-1225, this is Jacksonville Control. Maintain heading and altitude and prepare for show start.
Yeah, breaker, roger that, Jacksonville Control.
Lewis, I had no idea you were a pilot.
Oh, Jess, it's easy. I read the manual last night.
Wait, what? What are you talking about? Get me on the ground right now. Gently.
Okay. I could drive just this once.
Stand by for Lewis and Clark at Jacksonville International Airport in 5, 4, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, Lewis Turner and Jessica Clark.
Welcome from Jacksonville International Airport. I'm Jessica Clark.
Hey, Jess, I'm Lewis.
Hi.
You know, the running Lewis and Clark joke is you always get to drive. The cars,
That's
the boats.
right.
Just this once. Thank you for letting me fly.
Sure, of course, it's the least I could do.
And here we are, safe and sound. Oh, wait, 50 years.
50 years, 1968 this place opened for the very first time in the fall.
And of course, as you can imagine, so much has changed. We have some pictures of the way things used to be, a coquina front to the old airport where you walked in. And actually, that's where we're standing now, is that spot. You know, where you used to come in, it's so much different now.
It is,
with a couple of different parking garages, but and a lot's changed. But the old girl doesn't look a day over 49.
You know, when this place opened, it was swanky compared to what was here in Jacksonville.
Right.
This place was state of the art. And you know, it used to be farmland, swampland. It was way out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But here it is now.
And you had an opportunity to talk to a couple of gentlemen who, day one, right here.
Yeah, two pilots who happened to fly in the very first day JIA opened.
And they flew that one for about 2 years.
Billy Banks and Pete Cortez are lifelong friends.
He keeps me in shape and keeps me out of trouble sometimes.
That could be debatable.
Banks is 82 years old. Cortez is 85. So 50 years ago, in the 1960s, they were
Babies.
They were friends, and they worked together.
He worked for me fueling airplanes.
Eventually, they both flew corporate jets out of the airport in Jacksonville. At that time, it was Imison Airport. It was the airport before Jacksonville International Airport opened.
I was flying out of Imison Airport for Winn-Dixie stores.
I was just got hired by
Barnett Bank, that is, to fly their executive jets. And at that time, there was a small town feeling in the skies above the River City. Air traffic controllers and pilots were on a first-name basis.
When we got in an airplane, control says, "Is that you, Pete?" "Yeah." "Hey, how you doing? What do you want to do today?" "Oh, well, I want to do an ASR approach." Yeah. "Okay."
In 1958, Imison Airport was deemed inadequate for jet aircraft, and eventually a brand new airport would get built. And Banks and Cortez remember that well. It would become Jacksonville International Airport. It was about 5 miles north of Imison Airport on land that was...
It was a swamp.
Swampland. I wouldn't call it swamp, but it was close to it.
It was, you could spot the airport 100 miles away, because it sit out here by itself.
So this was just way out there.
It was way out here. It was a dairy farm, a couple of dairies. One was Harpin's Dairy.
And on that farmland, a fancy airport was sprouting up. These two pilots made unofficial visits to the new runways in their planes.
We used to shoot touch and goes on it before they opened it up. You know, they had access on it, but that didn't make any difference. We'd land on it.
For the good times, we'd put a wheel down, you know.
We didn't violate the law, we just pushed it a little bit, that's all.
That was the good old days. You could get by a lot more than you can now.
Then came the first day of business for Jacksonville International in the fall of 1968.
I know I had to get up early.
These two fellas were some of the first pilots to land at the new airport.
I mean, in reality, we have landed before, but this one was authenticated. Okay.
For sure.
Cameras and everything else were there.
Cortez was the
first private airplane to come in. So we landed, and then the 727 came in. He had passengers on board.
And then Banks flew this plane in.
About 2 or 3 airplanes later. It was a big to-do.
Big to-do, yeah.
50,000 people waited in line for hours to attend the opening ceremonies of the new airport. The Jacksonville International Airport boasted jetways, air-conditioned concourses, and escalators.
They expanded the airport with longer runways than they had in Imison.
But we loved this airport when it opened. It was nice.
Why did you love it?
Well, just everything new, you know, smooth, new.
Clean.
and had really good approaches
I thought it was great.
compared to what we're find at the old airport.
They need it because, in all due fairness to the city, Iverson Airport was already getting surrounded with population.
Over the decades, Jacksonville International's terminal has expanded and changed, and plans are in the works for more changes. When a city's airport changes, so does the city, and the traffic and business that comes into the city. And these two guys have seen it all.
Really?
Really? But
They were fun. And you know what? Now 6 million people come through this airport. That's a lot of people and a lot of stuff.
One of the cool things about this special, we're going to take you inside places you can't go, like the Lost and Found. And the places, the surrendered items. And with those 6 million people, you get some unusual things. Take a look.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Brian Long. I'm the terminal operations man.
Okay. So you see it all. I know you're on the phone, you're making calls, handling everything, but Lost and Found is under your purview.
That's correct. And this is our Lost and Found customer service office. Yeah,
It's
sure.
not just a box that's lost and found,
No,
it's a
no.
whole office.
Yeah,
Like
but
elementary school Lost and Found, it was.
yeah. But the thing about an airport Lost and Found is we get everything in here.
There is a neatly organized back room full of lost and found stuff, from speakers to
Suitcases.
from spectacles
We get tons and tons of eyeglasses.
to stuffed animals.
You get that favorite bear or that favorite that the person can't live without.
If my daughter lost her lamb, I would stop the plane and go back. We would have to get back for the lamb.
If I had a penny for every neck pillow that we've got, because people leave their neck pillows and they don't come back to get them.
And then there are some really strange things.
There are oxygen tanks. I mean, why would somebody leave an oxygen tank? So
And then
they probably say, oh my, I forgot my big knife.
Well, if you're not eating your steak with this kind of, then what kind of steak do you have? You just about cut my pinky off.
No, I did, I know.
talking about sharp objects, let's go to a whole different department at the airport. The land of confiscated,
No. We use surrendered.
okay, surrendered items with the TSA office. That's Debbie Jones with the airport.
Basically, these are just some of the items that passengers have had in their carry-on bags that was found at the checkpoint and could not go through the checkpoint. You cannot carry these items on a plane.
Look at that, it's a knife that looks like a gun. Oh my gosh.
The TSA says these items could be considered weapons.
You just,
It's a
can
quartz
Do you mind
thing.
if I?
Pick it up, yeah.
Why would, okay, I'm just carrying this on.
Good luck with that.
This,
Let me know how it works for you.
Was that in a piece of
it weighs more than my head.
Yeah,
Feel
it was
it.
in
I got a
somebody's
big head.
luggage, yeah.
So I gotta ask about the bowling pin.
Well, yeah.
Is this considered a weapon?
It would hurt
Yes.
if you got hit with it.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a bludgeon thing.
Okay.
I don't trust a man
But
who brings a bowling pin on an airplane.
I mean,
I don't
it's
trust
very-
you.
The TSA will dispose of these items that could hurt you. And back at the Lost and Found office,
We'll have no liability.
Oh, there too.
Lewis and I were trying not to hurt ourselves.
Okay, I would like to take this time to advise you not to do this.
Thank you.
Oh.
Okay, well, we'll listen
Thank
to
you.
No, but, okay, Signal 17 and Lost and Found. We have person down.
There are so many things you don't want to worry about while you're at the airport, but come on, you must have wondered what happens to your bags after you leave them at the check-in counter.
And grass, animals, and nickels. Why all these things could cause major problems, and the work being done to prevent them each day.
We're celebrating 50 years with Jacksonville International Airport. Lewis and Clark will be right back.
Welcome back. It's Lewis and Clark. We are celebrating 50 years of JIA.
50 years. You know, we put a lot of trust in the people who take our bags, at the check-in counters.
Absolutely.
Where did those bags go?
They disappear off into the magic land of Narnia. So through the use of GoPros and a little behind-the-scenes access, which is rare, we're going to take a look at the maze, those conveyor belts.
How long have you been here, Bob?
About 20 years.
20 years.
With 2 decades of service here at the airport, Bob MOLLE knows every nook, every cranny of this place.
So, Bob, I always wonder when I drop off my suitcase, what happens to it? And will I see it again?
I don't blame you. We're going to go downstairs and see a little bit of that right now.
Okay. Cool. So he is our gatekeeper to a world many never get to see, and most probably don't even think about at the airport, as they're just trying to get to where they're going. And what's behind there is restricted as this red signage.
I know.
You gonna let me go back there?
Yep.
Seriously?
We're going to go back
All
there.
right. I've always wondered about what happens to the suitcases. Yeah, so Louis, this is on the other side of the wall.
There's more to this than just a roll-away roller coaster. It's a mind-blowing myriad maze meant to get that bag from check-in through TSA inspection and then to your airplane.
Most of all that conveyor spaghetti is really for outgoing bags. And these are the conveyor belts then that take the bags from the ticket counter, brings the bags in, they come around, they enter the rooms that are right up here that house those machines. Once the machine clears them, they come back around and then they're delivered, in this case to Delta.
If a bag goes through that machine and the little light goes off to indicate something's not quite right with this bag, then it comes here.
For some reason, if your bag doesn't pass that big machine test, it gets sidetracked into a pretty secretive TSA room.
This is the control room, which you probably prefer not to film that.
Not to film this.
But there haven't been too many instances that Bob can remember of a bag actually not passing through this hand inspection.
I can honestly say that the whole time I've been here, maybe once or twice there was something that was a little bit, I'll put it that way, a little bit suspicious.
In all, it's only about a 5-minute trip for your bag from check-in to the plane.
I think we did a computation at one time. We had somewhere in the neighborhood of a mile or a mile and a half of conveyor belt.
But that bag gets handled.
Unfortunately, you might see that they don't usually exercise a lot of care when they're moving bags.
No. They get the job done.
And it changes lots of hands.
Technically speaking, what happens here is this: when you bring your bag to the ticket counter, of course it's under your custody. When you turn it over to the airline, it's under the airline's custody. Shortly after it gets onto the baggage handling system, it becomes under our custody, the airport authority's custody. When it goes through a machine, it's TSA's custody again. When it comes out of the machine, it's back ours. So it's a very kind of complicated, but it gets handed off several times.
All this to make sure you have to worry as little as possible and that your bag safely gets to where you're going.
I'm glad they can handle all of that.
They can do
Whew,
it.
Man.
We don't have to think about it, right?
So at the airport, there are basically 2 departments.
Yeah.
There's landside and then there's airside.
And we can see them both here right now.
Yeah.
Landside, everything inside, landside and airside, of course, with the planes. And the amount of inspections to keep us all safe on both sides is staggering.
It's a cool thing to get to take for granted. Planes take off and land without a hitch 200 times a day here at JIA. You don't want or need to think about all those details. It's stressful enough just traveling. But since you're relaxed at home, let's take a look now at what happens and all the people who work to keep things moving smoothly.
So will you do a lap? Do you kind of walk the halls?
I do several laps.
Let's do a lap.
Whitney ROBARE is a part of the landside operations. That's anything inside the terminal and concourses.
We look at the very, very, very minute details that I don't even think about. Things that you don't think about.
She easily gets her 10,000 steps a day.
A lot of times people can't take everything that they bring with them.
Sure.
Either they don't want to pay or it's just an incompatible item.
Right.
So you'll see random things just sitting on the trash can like electronics or like I saw a box of brand new shoes once upon a time. Yeah, just sitting on top.
And she knows the great places to hang out in the airport, places most folks tend to forget about since it's usually a hustle to get through TSA and onto the flight.
What's your favorite part of the airport?
Oh, that's easy. Let's go.
I bet I know.
Speed montage.
Great. Thank you for showing me your favorite place.
No problem.
I hope that wasn't top secret.
No,
You don't mind sharing?
So you can get a glimpse outside from here to the air side, where even more inspections take place daily.
We are currently standing on runway 826, and for people that don't know,
They're based on magnetic heading.
Tyler Perouse is an airside duty officer.
How many runways are there here?
So we have 2 runways, runway 8 and runway 14 are 2 primary runways. And then
as you can imagine, the stakes are very high out here, from wildlife removal.
Birds, coyotes, rabbits.
I'm sorry, coyotes?
Yeah, coyotes, they're pretty shicey. They can find their way out here.
Making sure the paint job is perfect.
I heard that there's 3 feet of concrete.
Yeah, 3 feet. It's pretty thick. They got to handle some pretty big aircraft, so.
Even the grass is mandated to be a certain height.
You got the grass?
Oh, we do. Yeah, I don't, but we have an airfield maintenance. Yeah, our airfield maintenance department does do the mowing.
And it has to be a certain length, right?
Yep, it has to be a certain length. That's good. Yep. 6 to 12 inches is what we recommend. Every day we do the daily inspection, like I said, and that's just a quick overview look, real big look of the runway. Every week we close the runway for about 4 to 5 hours. They run a sweeper. Once a month we do a fog walk, and that's I actually just did it last Wednesday, and we'll close the runway and we'll walk from that all the way down. And
that's 10,000 feet of runway to walk, nearly 2 miles worth, to get even the smallest debris off the runway.
FOD is it stands for foreign object debris. It can be anything from luggage zippers to luggage locks. That could cause a lot of problems to an aircraft. It can do 2 things. The aircraft could ingest it and cause an engine problem, or also if an airplane just goes over it, it could use it and shoot it and make it as a projectile, and it could hit somebody or something and cause damage that way.
JIA may be 50 years old, but the technology is state-of-the-art. Coming up next, how much the airport's JEA bill is each month and what they're doing to pay less.
Also, all the things you can do while you're waiting on your next flight.
The 50th anniversary of JIA with Lewis and Clark continues right after this.
Well, the amount of power used here at the airport is absolutely astounding. With the generators and the electricity, it could light up an entire neighborhood.
I keep doing this. I've done this in like several stories because the mind is just blown.
Yes.
Just watch the story and enjoy the part about how much the JEA bill is, and be thankful it's not like yours.
Mm-hmm.
We got 17 generators here at the airport.
And it's Danny Connell's job to make sure everything stays on, even in a crisis.
Oh my goodness.
All the generators could keep the airport from missing a beat for 30 days if power was out that long.
Where are we right now?
Okay, we're in the airfield lighting vault here at JIA.
This looks like a shack out in the runway area.
All the lights.
But it's his domain. And this room runs it all.
Like the main panel in your house, all the circuit break, just like that, but different, you know.
Okay, now I understand.
Okay.
So very important.
Wait, how many lights is controlled from here? Out in the air side?
I've got that figure right here. I've got it right here. We have 1,303 LED taxi lights. We got that, then we have touchdown lights. Touchdown lights are on both ends of the runway. Right. And there's 180 of them. They're in like 3 of them. They're called barracks. That's where the plane's supposed to touch down at. Okay?
Are you getting it?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm processing it right now.
And as you can imagine, that equals a major JEA bill.
It was like $450, $475.
A month?
$1,000 a month.
Need to get cultured before you hop on that flight? When the First Coast Adventures of Lewis and Clark returns, the incredible art exhibits,
And even a singing bartender while you wait to catch a flight out of town.
Lewis and Clark will be back right after this.
Well, for the last 2 years, Jacksonville International Airport has been ranked #1 in customer service by the Airports Council International. And you know why?
That's kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal.
You know why? Because as you're waiting for your flight, you can get wined, you can get dined, and you can get cultured with song and dance. And I need the culture, all the culture I can get.
So there's art in the airport. There's art all over the airport.
Just outside security, there are, count them, 3 art galleries now at the Jacksonville International Airport.
So let's go in.
I feel like getting cultured and refined.
Yeah.
There.
It's an education, huh?
I need it. I believe you me.
Jen Jones-Murray leads the art program at JIA.
And so we've got
fine art and cultural exhibitions and historical exhibitions. You know, airport art programs became really important right after 9/11. They provided a distraction, a soothing experience for travelers, but our art program actually began in 1995. Do you have local artists in here? Only local artists.
The fine art exhibit sparked Lewis's inner artist.
What's your medium?
It is crushed velvet. That's right. I like doing Elvis.
You like the Elvis?
I love Elvis and crushed. That's mine. And if they ever get the Elvis theme going, then we're gonna.
The History Museum put the wind under my wings.
Look at that, and then look at this. Look at all these old postcards that have been blown up from the 1920s.
And some airport staff say the Aviation Gallery is their favorite place.
Ah, the Aviation Gallery, overlooking the field. My gosh, do you come in here and just watch planes do their thing?
I do. It's really nice. It has lots of aviation facts.
And if performing art is more your thing, you got to check out Lisa Thrower. She is a singing bartender.
I started working for Vino Volo in 2012. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, Lewis and Clark.
Yes.
Here we go. Summertime and the living is easy.
Like customers come in and you
all
start
the
this?
time.
Really?
Yes. Fish are jumping. I studied classical music at UMass.
Yes.
And
So, art, artifacts, and entertainment.
Little baby.
JIA has a bit of it all.
Thank you, Lewis and Clark.
That's still amazing to me.
She's fantastic.
She's very good, and it's just one of the wonderful things you can see as you come here to Jacksonville International. And by the way, that'll do it for us. Half hour here celebrating the birthday.
It's great. We wish you many happy takeoffs and landings wherever your adventures take you from here.
Absolutely. Hey, and for now, Jacksonville International, blow out the candles. You look great for 50.
50 years old. Happy birthday.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.